All right. Good morning. So, oh cool. My camera's a little off. Oh, showing my. I have a camera sitting on the top of my computer, and it's underneath a shelf. Why? Every day is like a new day where it just puts this camera box wherever it wants. Whatever. Here I am. All right. So, man, I have been struggling with this problem since yesterday. Basically, what I'm trying to do today is I need to get I have my own dev environment set up using Coder, and I'm trying to get the database to be a little bit more automated. Basically, whenever I create a database project, it needs to generate out the username, the password, all the stuff that's required for it to work. But I need new projects to be able to point to that file, and I'm trying to get this to work, but ChatGPT has been really, really, really bad, to say the least. So what I'm trying to do now is, although I just lost my mouse, which will not go back to my computers. So what I'm trying to do now is just get it to where I can read this JSON file that has the database properties, because what the goal and why I'm still trying to I called this day 19.5 since I didn't really get much time to work on the Game Boy game yesterday. What I need to do is I need to finish up this Game Boy test framework so that the progress that I start making moving forward can be tested and automated. So, all right, I have my mouse back. I need to do one thing over here on this computer. And, oops, let's mute that. All right, so first you need to actually tell Terraform which file to load. Right now, default, so it's looking for a default JSON and failing. Override. And set it to, I've done this already. Hold on, let's go into this project and let's see what's going on here. Parameters. Name of the... Why does this not... I don't know what's up with ChatGPT, but it's been so bad the past 2 days. I'm already doing that. Yeah, this is just not fun stuff. I try to do as much of this stuff off the stream as possible, but I've sort of gotten to this point now where you know what? I think I understand. Well, no, I don't understand what's going on. I got to the point now where like I can't really move forward in a lot of my projects until I get this database stuff worked out in my dev environment. And sometimes these Terraform templates are like really easy, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't understand in Terraform, like reading files. And what I'm trying to do is get it to read this JSON file, and then whatever is in that JSON file, pass those properties into the dev environment as environment variables, and then I'll be able to do whatever I need with them. But getting to that point has been a bit of a pain. Can only read files that live inside your Terraform configuration directory, not arbitrary host files. That's why it's complaining. Works only with files that vendor your JSON into the config and reference it. I can't do that. I can't do that. I am in. Let's do. I'm in the. What was I saying? I'm in Coder. So using the UI. Let's try this a different way. I will mount the folder, the .database auth folder to the container, and in the start up script, let's read the JSON file and put the properties and values into the environment. All right, let me pass it back this thing, and how can I remove the code we added and fix, and add this new implementation. All right, so, oops, as I fall over, and who keeps texting me? All right, so I have like a bunch of other projects that I also want that I'm doing sort of in concurrently as I'm doing this. So this is going to be a huge thing. Remove the old Terraform that reads local DB projects. Fine. Locals DB project. This. All right. Let's remove this. We don't need this right now. Keep the DB project name parameter. Mount your creds folder. Right, which we should be doing. Where's my Docker stuff? Docker. Oh man, over the past like 6 months, I've had to learn so much about Docker because of these like weird edge cases that I create for myself. No wait, I have this mount, and I have this mount now. This should be the same. Okay, and then I bet I have to revert back to this thing now. Then add secret, add DB project name. Fine. DB project name. So let's get rid of this, and this, and this. And I think we need a comma here. All right, so now in your startup script, after your CD coder, home coder workspace, add, so let's go here. I feel like this happens like multiple times in this script. Let's get rid of this debug stuff, because I think this is where it's telling me it wants it to go. And now we will echo this out here, which basically what it's doing. So the idea is that I need this system to be very generic in the sense that I want to be able to, like, since there's multiple databases that I might be working with, like I might be using Superbase, I might be using MySQL or whatever it is, right? I want to be able to just start any one of those projects in my dev environment here, and whatever the authentication is for it, and whatever it needs, because each database sometimes needs different things, it just needs to write all that into a JSON file into this auth folder that I've created. And the idea behind it is that if I can loop through each of the properties of the JSON file, I don't need to know the structure. I just need to make all of those properties available as environment variables, and then the project itself, when I tell it like, hey, I want you to use Superbase, or I want you to use this database, then the project will just read those environment variables out, and this whole system is sort of streamlined. The big issue in what I'm trying to do is I need it to be that when I restart a container, it always generates a random password. A big part of this is that I just want to make sure that whenever I'm doing streaming and stuff like that, like whatever the password is, it's not always just like live, or I don't have to care about it. So every time I restart the program or I restart the dev container, it needs to create a new random password, but that password needs to propagate to the other containers that are referencing it. And that's why I'm trying to pass the data through a shared JSON file. So let's see if, I'm going to try this one last time. ChatGPT's been like barfing on this stuff. Is this correct? If I pass it in like too much stuff now, like I don't know what it's just like, its responses are just so bad, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So not like my local stuff is going to work any better, but at least it'll be consistent. I can't like pin down why this stuff acts so bad. resources, and you leave your document container the same. Okay, fine. So I did this in the wrong place. This needs to go into here. And in the Docker container, we don't need this. All right, let's try building this. And Bitwise operator not supported. And leave your token. So where's this Bitwise operator happening? This must be happening. All right. I'm now getting this error, and here is the updated template. That's the updated template. I need to give it the errors. Wait, why did it? Oh, why did I lose the errors output? No, something's wrong here. Okay, I'll just rebuild it. There we go. Copy this, and let's see. Yeah, this is like something that should be really easy for this to do, but for some reason, I don't know why it's just continuing to like choke on this. The problem in the RCS is trying to interpret your link in your Terraform interpolations Bitwise operators. You need to escape any. I hate when it does it like this. And like it gives me like a diff. Like it's so unusable in this form. To export this key, fine. All right, let's build. All right, it should be V15. Nope. Negative Ghostwriter. All right, now I am seeing this error. All right. I'm hoping that in the next like 30 minutes, which I always say, I'll be able to just get past this little bit of an issue, because I do have the database up and running. I have a workspace that I can create with these, with a new database. So now all I need to do is just get this part working. Switch your here doc to a single quote. Oh my God, I don't know what this is. Sure. Let's replace this whole thing. And now let's build. Oh my God, I can't take it when it does the same. Like, it just gives me back code after we just solved something. It then just gives me back the same broken code. Why are you doing this? Why did you give me back broken code? Like, we just agreed that we solved this problem. Like, I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes with like its memory, but it's so like far behind now some of the other tools that I've been using. Switch your here doc to a literal string quote, right? Okay. The only part that like I can't do is I can't have I don't understand what's going on here. Getting the same error. I might have to like start, like what I've noticed is like I have to start new chats all the time now, because if If it goes on longer than like a couple of pages, it just can't handle it anymore. Come on. This is such one like simple thing I need to get past. This I have a lot of problems with. It's another reason why I keep going back to ChatGPT. Is like whenever I'm trying to run shell script inside of a Terraform variable, the escaping becomes like a huge problem. Fine, I'll just do it your way because clearly we're not speaking the same language today. Echo. Alright, let's build. It's going to give me the same error. Nope. Come on. Come on. We're so close. Good. Alright. This is going to be V15. And now, go back to workspaces. We're looking for hello Directus DB, which is my new test project. We'll update and restart. The name of the database was workspace Directus 2. Here. Alright, update these parameters. Let's see if this works. So this is the name for the other workspace, and then I look for the file that's associated with it. Let's see if it outputs. Oh, cool. It didn't get very far, but we're closer than we were before. Let's see what it has to say about this. Using kind of an error in there. Here to doc. Your doc startup so makes markers don't match. You open with, but Bash was looking for. What I'm like failing to see. Wait, I don't understand. Hold on, this is like so messed up. The problem is that this startup script becomes so like just impossible to maintain. The next thing I plan on doing, and maybe I'll just start doing this as some future streaming, is that I need to get these Terraform templates out of Coder because they're just impossible to work with, and I need to break them up and version them better and just deal with them like externally. I'm trying to use the UI as much as I can for this because I do like some of the features. Update this and give me back the full fixed code. But something like this kind of script, what I would normally do is just include it in the, I would include this as an additional file to the template so I don't have to do all this escaping stuff. And it just creates like so much. So as these setup scripts become like more and more complicated, it's just so many more points of failure. And a lot of it is just not escaping the right variable name or not closing the end of tag correctly and things like that. So let's build this out. Invalid single. Cool. I got this error. So now I'm back to this one, which is something that I had before, which is there's a single quote is not valid in a certain place, and I'll keep the indentions. Okay, maybe it's because I didn't do the indentions correctly. Who knows? It's just so many points of failure. All right, I'm not going to mess with the indentions. We're just going to try to do a build, and it's not a. I was like telling someone the other day, like this just reminds me of like just being a manager and having like a team of developers, and you're trying to tell them, okay, I want you to do it this way, and then like, no, we'll do it this way, and it's like nothing works, and you tell them like, okay, do it this way, and then finally you just get so frustrated you have to like go in and do it yourself. Although I think I've created such a mess for myself at the moment that it's like, it would be very difficult for me to figure out all of these moving pieces. I think this is sort of the bigger problem with the bigger problem with using these AI tools is that now I've gone down a rabbit hole I never would have gone down, and I'm so deep in it that I'm now dependent on the tool to get me out of this mess. All right, that worked. Let's update this and see if this will work again. And I'm just hoping, just praying that it will read this database file, and then we could do a quick test to see if it actually connects, and then move back onto Game Boy development. It looks like it moved. It looks like it went a lot further. Oh, look at this. It's reading it perfect. All right. So now the real question is, let's do a little test. New folder, or let's open up a new window, and we're going to open up a new folder, and we're going to go to my coder workspace, and we're going to find what is this? Hello DirectXDB. And let's just work on this for 1 second. We'll bring Copilot in, which is so much better. I need to look at the terminal, and let's do this. SSH nas.studio, or at studio nas local, and we'll put in my password, and then we're going to cd to coder workspace, and this is hello DirectX clear. And now we can do git status. The reason I have to do this is I have to be on the actual I have to be on the actual server in order to do the commit stuff, or else it just messes up when it's local. This is a bigger part of the workflow I need to fix. Git branch. All right, so let's do this. Git checkout package lock JSON. And now I want to git branch v0. I'll just do 2. Git checkout v0.2.0. Git push all. Give it my password. All right, so now that we're on this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it that, all right, I need your help to refactor this so that this database test project, so that it will look for environment variables and auto-populate the fields if they are found, to help test out auto connection via environmental variables. So let's do this. We're going to pass in the source, and then what I need to do is I want to give it a reference to what it actually outputs. So let's find this here, and it will it should be able to read this JSON. Here is an example of what is happening when the workspace comes online. Um, I want to map these properties as the default values of the DB connection field if they exist. Whew. All right, did I give it the source folder? Okay, I did give it the source folder. All right, so the goal now, and I'll sort of talk through what this project is. I created this little project here as a way of testing a database connection from like Lovable, because the idea being I wanted to Lovable like sort of forces you into Supabase, which is great, but Supabase starts costing like a lot of money, even if you're doing nothing on it. So Outsiders create like new accounts to get around that limitation. Most of it I'm just debugging. Like I wouldn't mind paying like a small fee, but just to have two databases running, I was paying like $40 a month, and all I'm doing is just testing, and half the time nothing's even hitting the databases. Like if it was per usage, this would be a different story. So anyways, it just motivated me enough to set this up locally on my own. Let's see what it's doing here. So long story short is that I came up with this little project, and the idea is that you put in the information for the database you want to remotely connect to, and then this script will create a very simple table, a user, and validate that you can create a basic note-taking app in it. And so that gives me all of the validations I need to know that the connection is working. So by changing this and ensuring that I can get this to connect, I will know right away that the database stuff in my own workspace is working. So all I need to do is just map these environment variables over to this stuff and make them the default values. So hopefully this isn't, oh my God, excuse me, this is what's been happening all day. Is the internet broken or something? Like it does suck when you're like quasi-dependent on these external LLMs, and then they go down or something like doesn't like work. This is another reason why I've been trying to set up more and more of my stuff locally. It's just not enough time in the day. It's just funny because I was out in California last week. I was literally I would wake up at like 3 in the morning, go to the studio by 4. I'd stay in the studio till about 2 or 3, and then go eat dinner, go to sleep, rinse and repeat for like 2 straight weeks, which is also why I'm a little bit burnt out right now. And I like got a ton of stuff done, but it was not fun. I can only sustain that type of productivity for so long. So now I'm back to a more normal-ish schedule, I guess. Actually, I don't even know if this is an even better schedule. I get up at like 5 in the morning, and then I stop working at 5. So I will say the good news, the best thing is that the LMs have helped me with focus, in the sense of throughout the day, sometimes my focus wanes, and I make mistakes, so having it double check my work helps a lot. Alright, it's doing a lot of stuff here, but I don't know what this is doing here. Interesting. I wonder what the over-under is for it actually getting this to work correctly, like right out the gate. So this is what's going to be the problem, is that there's multiple places where this is going to break. Now, theoretically, in the past, I have had this project work remotely from Lovable to my own local server, running this same exact front end for the database. So I'm going to hope that this will work, but that has never been my luck. Never. All right, keep this. let's come here and let's refresh. All right, I don't see anything. What did it do? This is hello directives. How do I how can I see the, I think it's echo. Isn't it just echo? Let me see here. Echo. It should just be $, right? So it doesn't look like it's getting passed in. You know what? I may not have actually finished. Okay. Now, how do we pass all of these? Wait. It doesn't look like the are set up when I open the terminal and do this. I get nothing. Oh, cool. I lost my mouse again. What is going on today? I swear, like, all these things start breaking when I'm streaming. When I'm not, it doesn't seem to fall apart as much. Come on, give me my mouse back, please. I have this like weird setup where I'm remoting. What you guys see on my PC is being streamed from my like server closet, and I share my mouse with the network so I can move between them, but it causes issues as well. When I open the terminal, I get this and no value. Nope. And no value. Where was this? Here. And let's paste this in. Shouldn't this work? I see the output in the container starts. Unless I'm missing something. What was the containers? Wait, did I use the right thing? Yeah, DB project name. DB user. Same thing. All right. I wonder what's going on here. This is like so out of my wheelhouse. Like the amount of stuff I've had to learn for Docker, Terraform, but not just like the basic stuff, like just all this dev environment stuff. To persist environment variables in interactive workspace shell, the simplest solution is to append the exports. All right, well, why don't you tell me what... Yeah, I knew there was going to be something wrong with this not... Add necessary right to those, then to ensure they load when starting the new shell run. This approach recommended because the code only affects the agent process. Okay, that was sort of what I was thinking. It was that those environment variables are being passed in, but they're only readable to the session that is running that script. So whenever I create a new session or I try to reference them, they're no longer accessible. So what it's telling me to do is to put these variables into a bash file, and then we can just re-implement that bash file so that it's available globally. So let's see if this actually works. That's actually a clever idea. I should have thought of that. Let's see. So we'll do this startup script. To this. And now let's build. and this will be V17. These numbers, like my Docker containers, like V99. I just have to like incrementally keep testing like bit by bit, and this is sort of one of the things that are frustrating me in Coder's environment. It's like there's no quick, easy way to like do this. All right, so now this is our hello directus. We will update the template and restart, and let's see if this now persists these environment variables across different terminal sessions. I mean, the fact that we got this far is a good sign. Come on, come on. And we're live. So let's refresh this. And we'll just pick one of these variables. All right. Still nothing, huh? Let me create a new terminal. Shoot. I'm still not seeing it. Did this change? How about this? Can you... I am not seeing the values. Can you add a message if they are missing to notify me so I can track down the issue? All right, let's have it add a file here, and I'm still not able to see the variables. How can I test this in the VS Code shell? Instead of me just telling it like, hey, blindly, like fix this stuff, because it's really not doing well at that today. I want to take a look at this. So let's see. I think the problem is that no, nothing. Just an add. Make the integrated terminal a login shell so it auto sources. Oh, it's telling me I'm running out of my team plan, which is fine because it's just as useless as the other models. You're exporting the doesn't. Oh shoot! I'm an idiot. No. It should. It should. In your start script, right after you loop, this will drop. Okay. This is a better idea. Instead of making them environmental variables, it's just going to persist for all future shells. Make it executable. This will drop a file in profile etc. Okay, so where does this go? Let's see. After we read the variables, what is going on here? Secret DB export, fine. Then we will do this. So now what it's going to do is it's going to write these to a hidden file on the workspace in Docker. V18. Watch that number creep. And so now if we restart this, we should be able to look into the etc profile and look for a db creds sh. Alright, so it didn't give me any errors here. That's good. Is it done? Done. Now, let's reload this. And what I wanted to see was file, open file. I am not seeing that in here. Did this actually write? Or was this the name of the file? No. That's not good. I'm not seeing the file. I want to see if I can just write this. How can we confirm the file was created and its contents? And then let's check in with our boy Copilot and keep all of this. And now when we come here, yeah, see, it's interesting. I'm not seeing any changes here. I wonder if it's not even looking at the right page. Are you... all right, let's go back here. So many moving parts today. From the running workspace. All right, so what we'll do is after here, we'll do this. Then we'll look for DB creds. Whatever, just make this here. And then we'll just echo this out and see if this gives us the... So theoretically, what I need to is test, I need to figure out why the DB underscore creds is not being written. So let's publish this v19. I'm saying by v30 I should maybe have this working. I hope not. I really want it to be working on my Game Boy game. I think I've built more tools and things around this Game Boy game than actually the Game Boy game itself, which generally happens for me. I definitely am more of a, I like to build tools than the actual thing. Hey, Terrific King, sorry, I just saw your comment. I am building right now, I'm trying to get a connection to my database working so that I can work on where did I put this thing? I have a Game Boy test framework, and the idea is that this will allow me to build scripts to test different button presses at specific times and take screenshots of the results, but I need to move this over to a database, so I'm trying to deal with all the database wiring, which is what I'm failing at. Here into document line delimited by end of file, warning, end of syntax error, end of. I am seeing this error. So the hope is that once I get through, ugh, I hate when it does this. All right, startup script, fine. Rest of agent code. Git committer workspace DB project. Oh god, I gotta like find this stuff. can't it just like give me the thing that I need? I can't like piece it, like this script has gotten so complicated that like I can't just insert random stuff like it asks me to. Update this full code. All right, now let's paste this code here. Let's build v20. Ugh. It's like I grow more and more frustrated as that number increases. The good news is that like once I get past this hump of just trying to get this to like connect up correctly, then it's pretty much it does continue to work very well. It's just this initial like how do you wire all these different things up and needing to know like where this connection is to that and the back end stuff, and then passing all the crones or cores or whatever the things are called. And all right, this is showing me that it is now outputting this db creds. So let's come here and well, that's not going to work, but what we should do is file, open file, maybe I'm missing something. Like, let me get rid of this for a second. Let me open up this Visual Studio server, and I want to see open file, and where is it writing to? It is writing to etc profile D. So I want to see, there we go, db creds. Okay. Now maybe the other session was just bad and I needed to refresh this thing. That doesn't make any sense either. Terminal echo, whoops. Thanks for echoing the same thing. I hate when I do that. Echo, perfect. Whew. All right, I think this is working now. So now let's come back here. And major changes added. Okay. I am now able to where is it adding these debug changes to? What did it add it to? The main and setup. Okay, fine. So I'm on the setup page. What am I seeing here? Let me do this for some weird reason. Maybe the preview got locked, just like interesting. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I want to see the console logs. Inspect. Console. All right. Let's see now. Hello, DirectSDB weekend code project. All right. Let's see. I am getting the following errors. The error is occurring because processing is not available in the browser environment. Invite only environmental variables predefined with Vite are available. Okay. All right, let's see if this works now. I see what it's saying. It's saying that in order for Vite to have access to these variables, it has to be passed in a certain way. So I guess it just wasn't taking that into account. And while it does this, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to go switch up my setup here so I can sit, and I'll be right back and we'll see what this has generated out. All right, so it has generated out this thing telling us to check the environmental variables. It says no environmental variables have been found. Let's clear this. All right, so what I'm going to do is I now need to wire up. Okay. It's telling me no variables are found. But when I do this, there, are we missing something on how to pass the commands to byte? Or do I need to restart? Actually, you know what? Before we even do this, I noticed this too. This is a problem that I have where like I'll get into an error. I don't know what's causing it, and I just start continuing to try to figure out the problem without actually testing out. Like there may be something here where Vite just needs to be reset in order to see these variables. So sometimes I've noticed, like in a case like this, I don't know if this is going to actually work or not, but I'll tell it like, hey, I can't get this to work, can't get this to work, and like for hours I'm sitting here fighting with the LLM until I realize like, oh, all I need to do is like restart the server. All right, that is back and live. Let's reload the window, and we will echo out DB project name. That's there. And now let's redo this, and it is saying that no environmental variables are found. Okay, so now we know I have a valid error. Let's put this here. The source file is also located at where does it output this thing to? That's in here. Let's do this. located at and echoed out in the workspace creation. All right. I have a feeling there's something I don't understand about invite, about how you pass values. I see the environment values are being injected as DB without the vite prefix. No shit, I told you that from the beginning. Since you can't control the environment variables are injected, they come from... Let me update the code to work with the actual variables you have. Yeah, thanks. You mean like the ones I told you from the beginning you should work with? Tell me more about how you should do this correctly. I feel like we're close though, because if I could just get this project to connect, then we can start refactoring the Game Boy test framework and actually move it over to a database. The problem is it was getting too complicated, and also in my head I can't just build a one-off tool. I need to build something that's like scalable. So I wanted it to support where you can upload the ROM you want to test, then build your scripts around it, then add new ROMs if you want. So, yeah, I need a database for that. I was trying to do local storage, it was giving me some weird error where I couldn't store more than 5 megabytes locally, which I'd never seen before, but maybe. I was surprised that my Game Boy game is 5 megs. All right. Perfect. Now let me create a test. Verify this works with your exact environment arrows. So the way that I've been approaching a lot of these things is that I build like a test project that I know works. Then I have it document itself. And then when I need to, like, let's say I create a new project and I'm like, hey, I want to connect to the database. I'll take the instructions out of this on how it's working and then pass it to the new project. Be like, here's what you need to implement. Because this way I don't have to like keep remembering how to do all this stuff. Which probably sounds lazy, but at the same time, like there's so many things to keep in your head at this point. Like, it used to be you're like a front end developer or a back end developer, or you did certain things, and now it's like you're a full stack developer. So you have to know every single piece of it, and there's so many moving parts. And a lot of those moving parts are boring. I'm definitely more on the front end of the sides. Like I need to be visual or interactive or something engaging. This setting up databases and, I mean, with the exception of automation tools, which I love building, this stuff I find just like, it's just like sleep inducing. Okay, let's keep this and let's see if it's actually fixed this. Look at you. So nice. So nice, so nice, so nice. Okay. Now, let's see if this works. Shoot. What should the server URL be? So the database host, this name... I think the server URL is going to be where this is running from. I may need to do some stuff under the hood. This is also running on port. I don't think we need to know the port, honestly, because this is abstracting it. Me at jessefreeman.com. Cool. That doesn't do anything, and let's see why. Console. Okay. Let's do this real quick. I have two questions I need to figure out. First, can Terra read the, well, trying to think of how to approach this. I think there's some disconnect now. Okay. I need help cleaning up the entire I need help cleaning up the entire setup process because it's not working. Oh, come on. Give me my mouse back. Stop that. Why does it lose my mouse like this? Come on, give me my mouse. Man, Synergy has just like gotten so defunct. I just gotta wait for, like, Synergy is like cycling through a whole bunch of garbage because it seems to have forgotten what it's doing. Now I need you to help clean up the entire setup process because it's not working. Let's just get a POC working. So the database project is running under the same Docker network as the let's do it. Let's figure this out. Okay. Because it's not working. I can't create the I can't activate the last step. So I need to understand a few things. Can you do an audit to make sure the setup process works? I'm hosting my database at, where am I hosting my database at? Back to here. I'm hosting my database at, do I really need the port? I can just call that directly, right? With the correct DB user name and password that applied from the environment variables. Let's see here. This one's going to take it a minute. Connect directly to the URL. Let me first check the current setup flow and identify the problems. Let me check the complete setup flow and understand the steps. So the idea should be that you go through these steps, and what I want to do is get it to where I would love for this to be like a basic, like included. I would like to include this in all of my templates to some extent, where it could just test or validate. If I need to, I can just check this out and validate that the database works. I don't know how to actually include it in my templates, but that's a whole other dream. But anyways, everything's being populated. So now we just need to make sure we're getting the right things through. All right. right, we're gonna have to replace the entire component. That sounds non-invasive. Just trying to figure out what else I need to do. I don't need this anymore. This is my Game Boy test framework. I'm just gonna organize myself while I'm at it. All right, let's see what it's doing here. So database connection fields the host, port, name, user, and password. This is for underlying database, not Directus API. Serving feature is URL, ports, course. This should be the Directus API endpoint. Admin user setup. This doesn't make sense for an existing Directus instance. For your hosted Directus, you only need the Directus API key and user credentials. Fine. Let me completely restructure this to be a proper Directus connection test. I wonder what the hell I was doing before, because it seemed to be proper. But I guess not. I like how OBS has decided that it was going to... Wait. Why is there a network error? What's going on? Is this actually working? Oh, it looks like I'm live. I don't know. I was getting... OBS was trying to like update itself, and it like sort of screwed everything up. Also, my animation's not working. Why is it no longer playing my movie? There we go. Yay. It's like having like a little bit of motion. So if I'm sitting here thinking about something and I'm not saying anything, you can realize that I haven't frozen. I've noticed this a lot. It tends to, Copilot tends to corrupt the files, or at least it gets stuck in this loop where it thinks it's corrupted the file, it tries to delete them. But because my setup's a little bit weird, like I can't, it'll try to write the commands to delete things. I'm just going to have to do it for it. Well, let's see if we can... Okay, that actually worked this time. But sometimes, like, the loop that I've seen that... the problem that like Copilot will get into is that it tries to modify a file, it fails, thinks that the file is corrupted, tries to delete it, and either can't delete it or it does properly delete it, but then creates an empty file and never fills in the empty file, and the empty file keeps triggering it thinking that the file is corrupt. And then I've seen it get into this loop where it like creates an empty file, says that it's not configured correctly, then tries to delete it, and then this keeps doing this over and over and over again. So if you don't like really like babysit it, it'll just get stuck. Almost reminds me of like a Roomba getting stuck in a corner and just like keeps hitting like its head against the couch. See, look at this. It looks like the file still has old content. Guarantee this is empty. Oh no, it's definitely there. Oh, you know what? I think I know what the problem is. Let me keep all these changes. Let's have it do this where it'll delete the file. And let's make sure that they got deleted. All right, I do maybe sometimes the problem is on me because I don't always accept the changes if I haven't gotten the result that I want. But I think there's something in the way that it like shows you the diff between what it edited and what it like. It's still edited the file on the local file system, but what it hasn't done is it hasn't it hasn't been smart enough to move it over correctly. So like, or not move it over, but like it doesn't like recognize it. Like, so there's still like this weird hybrid state where it might be reading the diff versus the actual file, even though it's running against the actual file. I don't know. There's not a lot of like information here that tells me what it's doing under the hood. I mean, it's telling me things, but this is just Charlie Brown parent speak. Wah, 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 wah. What was I thinking about doing at the same time? Oh yeah, I wanted to change this playlist, but it's driving me nuts. Alright, let's see this one. I haven't listened to this one in a while. I need to go find more royalty-free music. Alright, this is the other fun thing that I've seen it do, where now, I think it's just stuck. Like, it did the work, but it's stuck trying to summarize the conversation. So let's keep this. I'm going to see if it actually does anything. Connection failed. Name not resolved. Wait. Go back to the console here. Give me this error. I want to see this URL. What? Wait, why is it connecting to this? All right. I see the problem. It really needs to connect to here. Wait, close this out. Okay, I need to enable the CORS policy. I don't remember where to do this. Okay, let me pull this over to here. Okay, two issues. The first is that the full URL is, and second, how do I update the CORS file in my Directus instance or workspace to accept the request? Since this is running locally in two Docker containers on the same network, could we bypass this and use the Docker URLs? Let's see if this works. So what I'm trying to get it to do is like, so there is a novelty in being able to directly connect externally to a database. I don't think I'm going to be doing a lot more of Lovable work. Like, I really think I've just grown tired of those tools. I'd rather do this stuff where I have more control of it. So the need for me to externally contact these databases is not important. So what I'm trying to do now is, since the database and the workspace for my project are on the same Docker network, I just want them to talk directly to each other without having to go out through the Cloudflare tunnel and then back into the tunnel into the server. They should just have a more direct connection. I'm just trying to be very cognizant of the fact that if I want to deploy any of this stuff to production, that it's not hard-coded to this like very like tightly coupled situation. Which is why I'm trying to do like environment variables, and I'm trying to do these like sort of conditions where it like sort of figures out what to do based on what's being passed in, so that at least deploying it will be a lot easier. I don't have a lot of experience with deploying these things, especially databases. So that's a whole other world that I need to learn. Yay! Can't wait. I just always stayed away from this database stuff. It's just such a sink like this. But it's fine. I got another 30-ish minutes that I can stream for, and what we'll see if there's anything that's salvageable out of this stream. But luckily, I don't have any trips coming up anytime soon. The only other things I have is on Friday I need to head out to my office. I have to set up my cameras and stuff in my office, and I have a new 3D printer to set up, and hardware stuff I need to start doing live streams of. So there's a lot more coming down the pipe. All right, let's create a simple guide for the car. I don't care about the guide. Just want the stuff. All right, you fixed all this stuff. Great. Let's keep your changes and let's see if this actually makes a difference. This is running on port settings. This is running on port 8055, so that's correct. 8055 test connection. So loaded over HTTP's request is an insecure. All right, let's see what this is about. I think it's trying to do both connections at the same time. No, oh yeah, DirectX test 2. Okay, so let's see what the issue is. There must be just like a minor misconfusion. I see the issue. The browser is waiting HTTP request because the page is loading over HTTP. This is a mixed context security restriction since you're running. Let me create a simple API route that can make the Docker network request server side so we can modify the approach. Simple solution, modify the Docker network approach. Actually, we implement a simple. Let's see what it has to say. Cores. For your self-hosted instance, this is typically in the data. You know what? I have a better solution. What I actually need to do is I need to enable. Okay, all right, we're gonna do this in 2 stages here. Let it figure out its thing here, but we're gonna get the template for DirectX, and I'm gonna create a new ChatGPT. Can you help me modify this Coder Terraform template to have a flag when setting up a workspace to toggle cores or disable it so I can access it easier for testing? Or would it make more sense to create a comma separated field with the approved external domains? All right, I think this is the better approach because I don't know why I wasn't thinking about it. Like, the template when I create this project needs to handle the cores stuff instead of me having to go in and manage it. So once this is in place, we can write this into your script. So let's do this. Let's look for our, we'll put this before our startup, coder agent main, and a comment server list of all allowed cores origins. Perfect. I think this is so much better. Okay. I like this plan. I like this plan a lot. All right, next. Because if we can pass this information through environment variables, then we don't need to worry about. Now inject the cores vars into your environment of your script, in your startup script. All right. Oh, I see. Let's see. All right, so we'll do these two. And after port, we'll add this and this. Let me see. Can we simplify this? That if no domains are added, we don't modify cores. Or just drop the toggle. Or is that a flag that has to... Is cores enabled a flag that has to be in the .env file? What I'm trying to, yes, okay. So it needs to know, you'll need to expose enabled and origin. Okay, fine. So let's build this. This one's on v28, so it should be publish v29. And now let's go back to our workspaces here. Our Directus Test 2. We'll update and restart this. Let's see what this has done for us. Disabled network, Docker, fine, keep. All right, and we'll come here. And let's see this now. So what I actually want to test, well, let's see if we can just do this bypass real quick. Test connection, testing connection to Directus. Come on, you can do it. Error name not resolved. Yeah, it doesn't like that idea because it's not. You can't do it this way. The problem is that this is being run on HTTPS, and so therefore you can't do HTTPS to HTTP calls because it's a security violation. So I think this other approach is what needs to happen. Because now if I come into the settings here and we go to parameters, we have approved cores origins. So let's do this. Ooh, you know what we could do? I think by default we can give it a wildcard. We enable any weekend code project.dev projects in the core as the default value. See, this is where, all right, it's all starting to finally like click in my head. So now what I want to do is I want to add the asterisks. So I use a wildcard for weekend code project.dev. So any project that's running under weekend code project.dev is automatically included in the cores. So all we need to do is modify this here, which is here. Is there anything else that needed to happen? All right. Now let's build this. This will be v30. Publish v30. Excuse me. So gassy. Plus this mic like picks up every like subtle movement of my mouth, so I'm so sorry. It's a very sensitive microphone. Now we can go back here and we will update and restart. And this will give us the default value. Let's see when it stops doing its thing. All right, settings, parameters. All right, this is set by default. So now, if we come here and let's restart this, all we need to do is add .weekend code project.dev. And now test the connection. Ah, it failed. Why did it fail? No access control allowed origin and header. Alright, how do I need to fix this on my front end or in this template? Alright, there's some violation. Core stuff is a big pain in the butt too. You have to fix this in the template server side, not your React. CORS is enforced by the browser based on response headers, so the directives container needs to send the access control allow origin. No client side tweak. So how do we implement this on the template? Pass those vars through into your Docker container in your Docker container workspace block. Wait, what? Why am I passing these? All right. It's saying that I need to pass this into the Docker container. Build. I can't wait for the day when this stuff is actually like, hey, I want you to do this, and it's like, okay, and it does it. I mean, at least... What's happening, Captain? Hey, how's it going? I am working on the exciting part of development that is connecting a database to a front end so that I can continue with my Game Boy test framework to automate testing of my Game Boy games. But I'm just running into a lot of little annoying problems for setting up databases. Hopefully, I think I'm at the tail end of this though. I have like so much work to do today too, which is why I'm probably going to end in like 30 minutes. This Game Boy game is just like lingering, and it's just because I haven't had time to really focus on it. So I'm hoping if this works, I can start moving a lot quicker. No, I did not get a new gig. I just have a whole bunch of stuff that I have to do. I don't know, for some reason being unemployed, I'm busier now than I was when I was employed. But a lot of it is I have to do a lot of cleanup stuff for, I was out in California last week at LinkedIn doing a course on C# design patterns. So I just have like a lot of cleanup stuff I need to do for them, mostly around slides, because do I have a mark deck? Yeah. I am so lazy that I'm so lazy that instead of doing the slides in their template, because I had like so many, I mean, there's 28 slide decks that I had to do. I actually built an entire application that lets you convert Markdown into slides and then export them. It's a little bit broken right now because I'm trying to get it to, now that I have this working, it worked a lot better before. I know the examples will be, the examples will be broken too. I'm in the process of cleaning this up so I can upload their PowerPoint presentation and then inject the contents into their PowerPoint presentation, so I don't have to do it by hand. But I was able to do all the filming and everything. I just have like 28 some odd decks and a bunch of articles to write to go with it. Is this all correct? Whoops. Oh, come on. Why did it lose my mouse? I used a little Python script. Yeah, I was actually, this was actually a good, like a interesting bonus that came out of working there. Yeah, I'm definitely like such a lazy developer that I don't want to do the stuff that I write tools, but I spend so much more time on the tools themselves. All right, so this works. So let's see if we can connect now. Let me restart this real quick. All right, I don't know why error name not resolved. Oh, I know why, because it didn't do the weekend. .dev. It's been blocked by the CORS policy. So why don't we do it this way? Let's add this to the policy, and maybe this just isn't working. Oh, you stupid thing. You didn't do... It should have set the value. Weekend code project.dev. All right, this should work. Submit and restart. Well, the interesting thing about this little like deck app that I built is that I can I want to do a lot more like YouTube videos, and I just don't I don't have time to like build all the slides and all that stuff, but I have like so much research and so much stuff that I do that I just want to like throw them into a bunch of like talks real quick and just do them like I would do any sort of webinar or like conference talk. So my goal is to basically have this thing start building out. Did this reload? No, it still takes forever for this thing to boot back up. So I'm hoping I can knock out like a whole bunch of just PowerPoint slides and then just do some voiceover stuff, throw them up to YouTube, but I'll make them look nice. If I can get this template idea to work, I'm going to build out some really nice templates that have like a lot of motion in them, and like I don't care. I don't think the transition stuff matters, but it just needs to have like motion in the background, like sort of like what I have now going on in the screen, where there's like a little subtle something, and it just like is more appealing. So yeah, I mean, I haven't done talks in a long time, but I used to do so many talks, and that's just basically the format. And I think people still sort of resonate with that. Of course, you're not working. Weekend code project. .dev. All right, so now I'm confused. Let's see if I need to make it explicit. The project is called, let's do this. Let's see if this one works instead. And maybe it just needs like the exact URL. But anyways, this is like the last big hurdle I have. And honestly, this is like a blocker for like so many of my projects. So once I get this database stuff working and I can like just knock out like, hey, whenever I need a database connection, just spin up a new Coder workspace for the database and then just connect to it. This has all been like this weird new obsession of mine where I don't want any of the dev tools or SDKs or any of that crap running on my computer. Like I just want to have a dedicated server, and then each workspace installs the tools and SDKs and stuff that it needs, so it's just portable. Because I'm so tired of I switch between like a bunch of computers. I think, what do I have, like two offices? I have two computers in my office. Both of them are going to be set up more for AI because they have like multiple graphics cards in them and stuff. And then I have a Mac Mini I'm running here. I have a Mac Studio, which is now my dev environment. And then I have a Lenovo folding laptop, which is actually pretty cool. And that I use when I travel. So what I don't want to have to do is keep setting up dev environments everywhere. I just want to be able to like connect to this web page and start coding. All right, we are good. This is good. This now, let's redo this and let's test the connection. And I have a feeling it's going to fail again. It shouldn't take this long. Oh, wait. Okay, right. Weekend code project.dev. Come on. It works. It works. All right. Next step. Great. Enter your Directus login credentials to test authentication. Test authentic invalid user credentials. What the? All right. Let me think through this. I think the problem is that I've been redoing the data. I've been relaunching the database. So I have to ugh, that sucks. My idea, I don't think my idea works very well. I just need to get the password. The funny thing is I just realized that like if I restart the database, I have to restart the project that references the database, so it now pulls out the database and the new database credentials. So I haven't really solved any problem here. I think, oh my god, it sucks. I've been spending this whole time doing this and it like isn't even gonna work the way that I need it to. Let's just see if I can connect. Ugh, thank god. Alright, I don't need this. You can now use the Directus instance for your application. Save these, test another connection. Okay, so what I realized is that so even though I've gotten this working now, and the way that the system works is that I create a database workspace. The workspace automatically creates an admin user based on whoever is in the workspace that creates it. So I'm like the only one using my Coder workspace. So it uses my email, and then it randomly generates a password every time the container restarts. And so what I was trying to solve for is that it writes the credentials of the database into a file, and then it allows me to, it writes it into a file that's in a shared location. So then what I do is I create a new project, I tell it the name of the database, and then it goes and looks for that file, and it works. It loads it up, it's all great. But what happens is that when you reset the database, the current project doesn't have the new credentials, so it fails. So, all right, so we're very close. What I need to figure out now is I think I need to actually map the file, or the file will exist. I think what I need to do is see if there's a way that I can at runtime update that. Hold on a second. Okay, which one of these AIs are we talking to right now? I think we'll start with this one. Okay. All right. So the problem now is that, all right, let me clarify a bit. Everything is working. The issue now is that when the database workspace restarts, it creates the new DB auth file, but the running front end doesn't know to update. How can I get my project to always read from the updated file data? Should I have my project workspace just read from the JSON directly? Alright, this is a little bit of a weird edge case, but this all works. So theoretically, what we could do, yes, baking those DB vars into your containers environments sort of means it only reflects whatever. So when anyway, have your app read the JSON directly at runtime. Keep mounting to the container. Triggering container starts. We have a recommendation. Option 1 is simpler and more robust. Mount. All right. So what we want to do is this. Okay. All right. Now, this was the template. Okay, I know what I need to tell it to do. So if I come into here and I SSH ls. No, what I need to do is that at the root, okay, at the root of the dev container, there is a file with the up-to-date JSON, up-to-date DB auth. I want to make sure that we read from that file, compare, and if there are okay, you know, I'm not going to overcomplicate this right now. I think for right now this is fine. What I wanted to do now is fix. Okay, now I want you to restore the set. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I'm starting a new chat because this is going to get too complicated. Let me do this. Close all these files and get status. Why did I lose my SSH? Wait. Oh, wait. No, it's fine. No changes. Wait. I just can't see what. Wait. All right. So we have modified all of these things. Git commit m. Created test connection. Okay, now what I want to do is say I want you to restore the setup logic for this project. It should give you the fields needed to connect to the database, create a user, and build out the database structure for the note-taking app to work. Take a look at the code to see the end result, and we need to figure out how to get there. The connection needs to come from the environmental variables like we are doing now. Just pre-populate the fields, and I want to fully test that I can set up a new database by connecting to it. If the tables don't exist, create them. Let me use CRUD on the notes for testing, and a way to clear the entire database to test starting over. All right, and then we're going to give it, I don't think it needs the hooks. I don't think it needs the components. It does need some of these. Here, I'm just going to give it all the files it needs. What's in the libs in here? In the pages, you need this. And I think that's everything it needs. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do before I wrap it up is that I want to get it to a place where, so the idea is that, and this is what I'm trying to build into a lot of my projects. I was having a lot of trouble with this in Lovable. It just doesn't understand the concept. I want my projects to be responsible for setting up the database themselves. So very similar to how like WordPress works, where you give it a connection to a database and then it goes and builds out everything it needs. I want these apps to be able to, whenever you run them for the first time, that they verify that the connection works. If the things in the database aren't what they need, then it should build out the tables of the database, get everything up and working. And then after that, everything should just work. And I'm trying to automate this as much as possible, because some of these apps are like I've noticed it with Lovable when it's using Supabase. Like it creates like these really like complex like structures, which are fine because the database needs it, but it's not easily reproducible without it running like tons of SQL code. And I'm fine with actually doing that. I just want it to be, I don't want to be tied into trying to export the contents of a database to create a new database, especially with Supabase. Makes it really wait, what the hell's going on here? Wait, why do you need the Directus SDK? You're right. The question that I don't actually need the Directus SDK for this implementation. Let me explain why and what I'll do instead. The simple recipe of Directus provides straightforward recipe. I'll create utility functions that use fetch. Let me start. Yes, yeah. Yes, I don't install crap you don't need. Oh my God, it really is a developer. It just overcomplicates everything. It's like, let's just add a whole bunch of imports. Anyways, so if I can make my projects more self-contained, then they're also easier for other people to get up and running. So I have like all of these, I don't even know if I have them all. Weekend. I love how it doesn't, there we go, Weekend Code Project. I have like all these other little like projects and stuff that I've been working on. Like I have a video editor that I'm working on for a little secret project. I have, what was it? What are the other stuff? I have like these are like templates I can use for a Tailwind admin project or a Tori UI. So Tori is another thing that I was playing around with to let you do like native builds of web apps. And I have some stuff I want to come back to this. I don't even know what this test should have done. This one I really enjoyed. I have to get this one working again. Or I have to actually add the images because I had it generate out some basic images and they kind of suck. But let me see if this will run while it figures out what it's doing. I'll do my best to entertain you guys. So this is an idea that I had for, I loved Apple's Think Different stuff. I actually, I don't have it I have it in my office. I like the Jim Henson one because I love the Muppets and Jim Henson and all that stuff because I grew up in the early 80s. So this project was the idea of creating a site that you can just have as your background that gives you a a sort of, I was calling it Think Differently. And basically it gives you the information about a certain person. I was going to use the style from the Obama Hope poster and basically just have all these different people so that every day that you come to, like if you just bookmark this, every day you'll just have a different person. So so this is one project, but this, like I guess I could create, like I did want to create a database in the sense that I want you to be able to like submit, like there should be a place where you could submit a person, and then I wanted people to vote on it. And it's so simple, but to like set up like a Supabase database for this is like just ridiculous. But I can use something way smaller and lighter. So that's the end goal of this, is to be able to just create these projects a lot quicker. Let's see what this is doing now. I have a feeling this isn't really the I don't think this is the actual thing. Whoops. I bet you, oh shoot, I bet you I used the wrong program. Well, I guess it's going to build it out now. I had another, man, what did I do wrong here? All right, Lovable. Show me your goods. Why am I not logged in? Whatever. I don't care. No, the agent mode is actually worse. This is all the reason why I'm moving off of Lovable. Let me go. Oh my god, why is it not letting me see more of my projects? View all. Oh my god, it's like show more doesn't work for your own projects. Ah! Why are you so bad at this? Well, I was going to show you something, but I really can't now because Lovable won't let me view my projects, so oh well. I guess what it's going to do now is it's actually going to build out the application for me, which quite frankly is a much better use of its time. Kind of curious to see what it creates that Lovable didn't. So yeah, this should set up the database. You basically give it this thing, it's supposed to go through and build out a whole thing. How far have we got? Now let me check, start development test thing, the application. So we are here. So let's make this dot weekend code project.com. And this is now failing? Oh, .dev. I do have .com too, but that's a whole different thing. All right, next step, test authentication. Authentication credentials failed, but I know why they failed. It's because I haven't updated the password. Here. Okay, next step. Notes collection database schema fields, permissions, and CRUDs. All right, set up the database. Database setup successful. Notes collection is ready. Now, the moment of truth. Look at that. We have a table. It doesn't look like it has any like schema to it. We have one admin user. We don't have any files, right? And we have notes. Okay. This is working. Let's start testing. Hello world. This is a test note. Create the note, and we get a whole bunch of failed errors, but that's fine. I think I know what's going on here. This is like, there's a lot of permission stuff I think it needs to create, but we're so close. Okay, all right. I was able to get to the note part, but it fails. when trying to save a note. But I think that's it in general. So again, sort of to recap, as I'm going to wrap this up, I'll work on this a little bit more today. My goal tomorrow is that you don't have to sit here and watch me do database setup garbage when I should be building a Game Boy game. But as long as I have this one project, I can always check this project out, validate the connection to the database, and just start building on top of it. And at some point, I'll build a template where this will be just part of all of my React Vite projects, so that there's always a sort of like database setup-y thing, mirrored like WordPress does. I'm hoping to see if this can actually just fix this in the next couple of minutes. And then hopefully once this figures, so, and this is the other thing I'm still trying to learn a lot about, because I've never used these databases before, is like what, at least Supabase seems to have like a really complicated system for like authorizing users and tables and stuff. And I don't know how much of that you really need. So it adds so much overhead when I'm trying to like set up a new project. Like all the other stuff it sort of does, it's like great, but this Directus seems to do a lot of the same things, but is way easier to sort of wrap your head around. I just don't think it has as intensive of like a login authentication-ish system as Supabase. But I can also run Supabase on here too. So once this works, the whole idea is that once I create a database, all I need to do is give my project template workspace the name of the database, and it will go and fetch the connections and then automatically connect it to whatever the database is that I wanted to do. Which is a good reminder that I needed to do. I want this template to add into the JSON. That it is a wait, why doesn't it create a JSON auth? Hash password, define as traffic. Oh, this is my lovable one. It should be this database one. What it needs to do is, oh, see, it's saying that DB client is MySQL, but it really isn't. All right, I'm gonna have to come back and clean this up a little bit. But basically, what I needed to do is I needed to say like, okay, this is a Directus and Postgres database, where something like that is the client, so that in the front end, when I go to read this stuff, I'll say, okay, this is your type of database, and I will connect to that. And over time, I will build a library of connection scripts that will just automatically figure out what database it needs. Yeah, continue iterating. Go do your thing. Let me see. Okay. I'll deal with this in a minute. Okay, it has done all this stuff. We are now going back to this, and let's delete the entire database and start over. Now, I want to come into here and refresh this. Great. All right. That's a good sign. It was able to clear the database. So now we need to do weekend code project, test the connection. Next step, we need to give it the newer password. God, this is going to get old real fast. All right. Now we don't need to save this, and we need to auto setup. Database setup complete, successfully note collection created. All right. It gave me all this stuff here. I wonder if we do auto setup. All right. When I do auto setup, I get these errors. All right. I think this is where I'm going to stop. There's actually some good progress. Sorry, I lied. It's not. I didn't work on a Game Boy game at all, but I think we now have the ability to create a database workspace. We can have a project workspace roughly connect to it. I've solved the cores issues, and I've been able to transfer now the credentials from the database workspace to the new workspace. So now it's just a matter of I just need to wrap my head around the Directus APIs again, so I can get this little test project working. And this is, like, I'll leave it at this. Like, this is usually what I do is I'll create a very simple project, like a notes app is the easiest app to test CRUD. Create, update, read and delete. And if you're able to create a example database that lets you, one, create a table, create users, put stuff into the tables, manipulate it, and then delete everything, you've covered all of the bases of the core functionality that you need in order to manipulate a database. And then after that, it's just you adding in the logic on top of it to customize it for what you need. And that's all this app needs to do. So whenever I start a new project, if I want to test this out, I could check this out, run through the tests, and then see that I connected it if I ever have any problems. All right, try running this setup again. You should see a much cleaner error message. All right, and while we do this again, let's restart this, clear this out, and we will test connection. Next step, test authentication. Failed because I keep forgetting the password. Test authentication. Next step, auto setup, test manual setup, auto setup. I don't know what the difference. Database setup. Collection notes exists, but you don't have permission to access it. Collection notes exists. Cannot access notes collection. Please make sure you created it manually with the required fields. How do I reset this database? Interesting. All right, I'm going to look into this myself. I think I just need to create a new database. I think it's just having some issues with like the past testing over and over again. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. And hopefully if I can get all the LinkedIn stuff off of my plate today, then I'll be able to actually spend a good chunk of the day focusing on the Game Boy game. So thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.